Have you ever walked into your sewing room and thought, what on earth has happened here? Welcome back to my channel. My name is Shanda and I live along the Continental Divide in Idaho. And for the summer, I am in my quilting studio, my home away from home, my she shed, whatever you want to call it. But I literally drove up from southwestern Idaho, the Boise area, Thursday, and through all the stuff that I thought I'm going to get done. I'm going to get these projects done, right, all summer long. Through these things here in my studio, my gammal is right here. You can, well, I guess you can't see it, but my gammal is right here. And I've kind of putzed around a little bit. I'm getting ready to take a trip to Illinois, but I walked in and I thought, I'm supposed to do a FlossTube. I knew it was going to be a week late, which is this weekend. I thought, goodness, I'd have to clean this whole studio up first, right? To have a presentable FlossTube, but you guys are going to get a raw, unedited version of what is stacked on my ironing board. I've got cross stitch, both projects, WIPs. I don't have any finishes. I have a box of finishes that I'm going to be FFOing, but for the most part, this video is you're going to see Shanda at her normal self. Raw, unedited, maybe I'm a little bit vulnerable, but it is what it is. Then I will probably take July off. I have a lot of events going on this summer that I'm trying to get to and done. And then I will probably be back in August with a WIP parade to see what I got done and what I didn't. But first of all, I will show you this quilt right here behind me. I got an email from, I want to say it was Cheryl and Dale. Anyway, they kind of had a friendly bet going on as to what these size finished squares were. This was I just pulled it off the wall. This was a quilt. I just pulled it off the quilt rack, actually. This is a quilt that I did many, many years ago, 2005. I don't even know where my label is, but it's, I cut, it's not even strip pieced. Fall 2006, 2,116 leftovers. Pieced and quilted by Shanda Lindsay. I was in a kick way back when, 2006 and before, obviously, to just everything that I had. If I had a scrap left over, I cut it into a 2.5 inch square. So this is 2.5 inch squares, literally not strip pieced, but 2 by 2 run through my machine. Finished at 2. So that's my red and white quilt. I had a lot of questions on that. And finally, when I got that email from Cheryl, I thought, I'm going to answer that question. All reds and whites and creams. A few maroons, but obviously you can tell there's just a lot of different colors. And there's 2,116 pieces in this. Don't ask me what the dimensions are. And it looks like I'm not a big fan of huge borders on a quilt, but it looks like it's about a 2.5 inch cut, maybe even a 3 inch cut border. I hung that up. The other quilting question I want to answer really quick before I get into cross stitch is this quilt behind me right here. This one right here. This is also on a fence in a lot of my intros, and that was a quilt kit that's a form of Delectable Mountain. It was a quilt kit I purchased back probably in the late 2000s from the Gathering Place in Rupert, Idaho, and I have since found out that they took their shop model and they donated it to Fireman's Benefit, so they don't even have the shop model of that one left anymore. But it is a form of Delectable Mountain block, and it's one of my favorites. It's Christmassy, but yet not. I can leave that one out all year round. Okay, like I said, this is literally going to be an uncut version of what is on my ironing table. I have no clue what's up here. There's some older stuff. There's some stuff I just brought. We're going to check it out together. Okay, the first thing, I'm going to kind of sit this way so I can use this as a table. My current WIP is Where My Heart Blooms. Let me show you my chart. Where My Heart Blooms from Blackbird Designs, and I did not get this one finished for my retirement date, but it's all okay. I'm still going to put the year in here. And this is my work in progress. My house has, I don't know if you can see that, my house has some structure. The windows are in, but I love this part right up here at the top. Oh, just love this piece. Absolutely love this piece. I'm stitching it on a 36 count R&R weathered shingle with called for threads. And this is in a bag I bought from Canada. It's supposed to be for knitting, but I loved it because it has sheep on it. But it's got a boxed bottom, and I just wanted to keep it in here to use this. Okay, I'm just gonna toss stuff here on the ground. And like I said, there's gonna be no rhyme or reason to any of this. I'm just gonna explain it as it comes off the ironing board. This is a new start with a group of friends called Brenda Gervais Patriotic Poppies with Thy Needle and Thread. We're going to start this on July 4th. So I can hold that a little bit closer. There's 3-dimensional poppies in there made from wool, and then some that are stitched. I am stitching mine on 28 count Wren Casual Linen. I am going to be stitching mine 1/2, or excuse me, 2/2, because I want it a little bit bigger. I haven't quite decided on that for sure. I just want to use up some of my linen. Like many of you, let me turn this around so you can see the name of that. Like many of you, I am feeling the economy scarcity of things, and I'm stitching what I have. I'm not into the collecting or there's joy in that, don't get me wrong. I'm hitting a few stitching and quilting stores while I'm in Illinois. But I want to stitch what I have. I want to finish what I have. I want to find joy in what I have. So this is a new start, but I'm stitching it on fabric that I already had. 28 count Casual Linen, Wren, I believe it was. Let me double check that. Wren, and I might stitch it 2/2, or I might stitch it 1/1. I'm not sure. So if it's 2/2, it's going to be a pillow. If it's 1/1, it will fit in just a frame, or it might even be like a bowl tuck or a pin keep of some sort. And this is my bag that I made. I don't even know the line of the fabric. I'll scroll it across the bottom. I also brought with me Little Birds, and I'm going to be starting this one over again. I will salvage this, but Little Birds is by Blackbird Designs. I just love this one. My husband and I, on the 20th, which is tomorrow, I'm filming on Sunday, we'll be celebrating our 35th wedding anniversary, and I want to make this for that. I will put our wedding information down there in that chartreuse. But I'm stitching it with called for colors. Everything's kitted up. It's been started. But I'm going to start this one over again. And I'm not sure what I'm going to start it on. But this is the one that was on 32 count. And I did the border. And I made it connect all the way around. started some of it, and then I didn't like how light it was looking. So these 2 rows are done. I went over again. Crazy me. These are 2 over 2 over 2. The rest is all 1 over 2. And I might just leave it like that. I just can't quite decide. So please tell me in the comments below, what do you think I should do with this? I'm just not sure. It's 32 count. It was called for only 32, not 36. 32 count Heartland Belfast linen. And it's called for is 36. So same fabric, different count, but all this called for threads. And I'm just not sure if I'd be happy with that. But I have so much work into this. I'm just not sure. Let's go fishing again. Like I said, this is going to be... I know what some of these things are on top, but when we get down to the bottom, I have no clue what is on this ironing board. And you know, the ironing board is that place in your sewing room where you kind of put projects like, okay, this just needs to be ironed. This needs to be fixed. This needs to be finished. This needs to be whatever. It's the collect all. And when I came into my studio, I just kept putting stuff on there and unloading, but there was already stuff there from March when I was here last at my mountain house. So I have no clue what we're going to find. Okay, first was a new acquisition I got clear back in September when I went to the Quilter Station quilting retreat. I got a yard of the black and cream Blackbird Designs fabric that I have plans to make some project bags out of this summer. Some Lori Holt project bags with the zippers. I bought those. This is a kit that's got, it's a scissor fob. I'm not even going to show this to you. It's a purple felt kit with little dots, and I was going to make it for my granddaughter. She wanted it. But see, it's something you just attach to your scissors. This was a kit when I was working at the Quilt Crossing in Boise that we had as a make and take for our quilting tour shop hop people coming through on a bus. And then as employees, we all got what was kind of left over. And I picked this purple one. And I thought that would be fun for my 10-year-old granddaughter that I could make for her. An acquisition. This is some fabric. This is embarrassing. I know I just recently bought this from Maggie's on Main. A lot of this stuff came from Maggie's on Main because that's my local LNS down in southwestern Idaho. Yeah, Primitive Gatherings, Lisa Bonjean. It's a cream colored with some blue speckles to it. I hope that coloring, yeah, it's pretty good. New acquisition also from Maggie's on Main, some Simplicity Gals. And some just of the plain blue from Threads That Bind by Blackbird for more project bags. Or I was even thinking of a knitting bag with this one. Oh dear, this was a really old project. Back just when COVID was making its presence known, a girlfriend had made a mask for me out of an old quilt. She had some scraps and she thought that would be a lot of filtration. Well, I took it apart because it was kind of gathered on the sides and whatnot. I took it apart and I thought, what could I do with this? And I'm going to bind it and make a needle book out of it. So that's why this is together in a Ziploc bag. Do any of you have projects like this? I feel like I'm such a bad person for stashing and hoarding. This is a Hedgehog bag that I bought off of Etsy. I don't know, within the last 2 years, because I love hedgehogs. Oh, I know what's in here. This was a gift, and I kitted this up just in the last week or two when I was at Stitch Group. I'm going to be stitching Hedgerow by Plum Street Samplers because it's little hedgehogs. Can you see that? Let me see if I can get that off of there. It's a little bit better. This was a gift. And this one I am going to just make a pillow tuck out of. I want to say it's like a 20 count. It's from Cross Stitch Nook, Ada Hazelwood, 20 count fat quarter. called for. This would probably be like a car project because it's bigger count that I can easily do in the car. It's called for is 40 count up in the attic. Is not going to happen for me. Like I said, I'm using what I have, right? It'll be fun to do a WIP parade at the end of all this to actually see what I get done this summer. This bag is from My Needle Crafts on Etsy. This is kind of, I guess I could call this an ironing board parade, right? An ironing board parade. Oh, it's so embarrassing though. It really is. Kind of embarrassing. I'm bearing my soul to you. An ironing board parade. Next up is, I had a dear friend that was cleaning out her sewing room, and she wanted to give me one project, and this is Homestead by Laundry Basket Quilts. I know I will not be doing that applique. I will be just setting these blocks much differently, but this was put together, made using Heart's Content fabric line by Laundry Basket Quilts for Moda, and she even gave me a stack of the fat quarters and a layer cake that she had already opened, but whew, I know I'm not going to be doing applique. Applique to me is, it's just not going to happen. I'm not an appliquer. But I love the houses, and look at all the fabric that she gave me for it. So, unfinished project bag. I want to say this is a Joe Morton line. I just did the method from Bumble Stitches. She's over in England. And I got everything mounted and sewn. I don't know if you can see that it's her method anyway. But this is the panel of the front of a project bag. Threads that bind, fat quarter stack, new acquisition from Maggie's on Main. We have all waited a long time for this fabric to come in, and don't know what I'm going to do with it yet. Probably something for my granddaughters. This is more their color schemes, and they're more into the florals. I like the sampler fabrics, but some of the florals I think they would like, especially Oakley, my 5-year-old. She would probably do well with a quilt made out of those. What ironing board doesn't have a quilt on it that needs to be bound, right? This is the binding. This is a baby quilt. My mom embroidered the blocks. I want to say it's a Jack Dempsey. She loves her pre-stamped embroidery. It's easier for her eyes to see. But they're called Bugs in a Jar. And then I just put it together in a quilt for her. And this is the same binding that will go around the outside edge. But there's spiders and bees and fireflies and ladybugs. And it's only, I don't know, yay by yay. But she hand quilted this one, and now I'm going to put the binding on it for her. This ugly spider right here in the middle. I'd have, and there's a fish even. They're not all. There's a fish to use the jar as a aquarium. I'd have to say there's a crab, bees, grasshoppers, ants. I'd have to say my favorite though is the fireflies right up here at the top. We don't have fireflies in the Mountain West. Oh, fireflies. So a quilt that needs to be bound is in my ironing board parade. A new acquisition. I've loved this chart for a while. This is cross stitch, the Sampler House by With Thy Needle and Thread. This one I did order off of Country Stitches online because it's an older chart, 2013. So this one you could probably only find on her website. Part of my quilting up here in the mountains for the summer. I live in a very rural community up here. Lots of river rafters, lots of agriculture in the summer. It doesn't quite double its population, but almost. So it's the perfect place for a lot of alone time. And me being an introvert, it's just beautiful for me to read, and where I had just retired from being an accountant after 35 years of different jobs and different work schedules. I'm needing a reset. I'm needing my own decompress and reset time, and health-wise for a few things to go on with life. Let's just put it that way. So one of my projects this summer is, a lot of you have followed me with this 4x5 quilt block anthology, and I'm not going to unfold all of it, but I'm going to be quilting this summer, and I don't quite know how to quilt it. I don't know if I'm going to custom quilt this, or it's huge. It's probably a good 80 by 90, I'd say. 182 different blocks, kind of like the Dear Jane quilts, Jane Sickle quilt. These all measure 4x5, and they're all different blocks. I'll show you just a few. They all measured 4x5. There's just a few of them. And I took all of 2019 to put these blocks together. I did 4 or 5 a week. But now comes the fun of quilting this, and I'm not sure how I'm going to quilt it. I feel if I custom quilt it, it's going to put too much thread in this quilt, and then it's going to be stiff as a board. So stay tuned for this WIP in progress as to how I quilt that quilt. Another project bag. This is a line from Primitive Gatherings. I'm going to say it's Snowman Gatherings. I thought this would make a cute bag for like a January snowman project. This one isn't sewn yet though. This one's just ironed on. And I thought this would be a fun coordinating, and this will be the lining. The lining is, look at those houses. The lining is not a Primitive Gatherings line. It's something I had. Oh, and it says 1663 Through the Woods. So I just love this fabric. Looks like Vermont in mapling season or something. Lining, coordinating, and then this is the panel for the project bag. We're getting there. We're almost there. Project bag, project bag, project bag. I think what I'll do with these is I'll just get them all to the same point and then assembly line them. Another project bag. I want to say this line is from Big Timber. See the little camp, the tents with the trees. And there's some camping insignia and national parks. I live about 2.5 hours away from Yellowstone. So that news story is kind of near and dear to my heart. Project bag. Project bag. Project bag. I think it would be beneficial to just take a day and get all those project bags to one of the same points and then assembly line all of them. This is on my ironing board. This is a, I can't remember what they call these, a clapper that I use to iron my quilting blocks with. I also have a liso iron, a professional liso iron that's yellow. That's the kind that goes up and down, and some Mary Ellen's Best Press down the very end of the ironing board. But I won't bring that down here to show you. This fabric, I kind of hogged. I got this from, her name is, on Etsy, she's the Green Bean, but it's a canvasy type fabric, and it's got sheep on it. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but this one might be even a project for after the summer. Oh, I just love it. We're getting down there. I have 2 here and then a box. This is something, eat cheese with a fork, not a knife. I have the book from Country Threads, and I made a working copy. I won't show you the bottom, but that's a table runner. And I know it's cut out over there on the floor, but it wasn't on my ironing board, so I'm not going to show that one to you. But yes, this is my working copy, and that's what it looks like. And then the last thing, somebody recently gave me like a bunch of bags with yarn and leftover projects and whatever, and you kind of salvage and go through and donate to the Goodwill and different things. But this one I kept. She didn't want it. It's paper piece log cabin blocks. They're all the same. All the pieces are here in baggies. And I thought I could finish this summer. I don't know that I'll get it quilted, but you can only do so much, right? Okay, and this last box is a box of things that are FO'd, but not FFO'd. And I put them into my bee box because I thought, I'm going to have to be as busy as a bee to get these things done. But I will just show you a few things that I got in here. Some stuffing material. This is that my girlfriend Dawn gave me. It's called K-Cob. It's stuff from stuffing material I can use. It's from like the pet section. I believe she got this at the pet section in Fred Meyer. So it's just a bedding material that she uses for filling material. This is my daughter's. She made this for her mother-in-law, and looks like it's on 14 count, but this was the first thing my daughter cross-stitched. Wolf in some trees. It's full coverage. She wants me to FFO this for her mother-in-law. Look at all this I would no more stitch this than the man in the moon. Look at all the shading in his face and his ears and his top of his head. I want to say this was a dimensions kit that she found. My daughter. A bag of lavender for stuffing materials. Poly pellets for stuffing materials. Looks like some sawdust for stuffing materials. I'm just going to use all this stuff up, right? Ground and nut shells that are lavender scented. I got these. I know I got these off of Etsy. Plum Easy pattern. I don't know what company I got this from, but I know I got this either off of Amazon or Etsy. I try to do local if I can find it, but this I thought sounded interesting because they were ground walnut shells that are lavender scented. Okay, some normal polyfill. A frame that I'm going to distress black. This is a standard 8x10, and it's for one of these projects I'll show you. I'll show it to you first. I'm going to put this red. I got to kind of go like this so I can. Okay, keep in mind this will be painted black. The frame will be painted black. This is kind of hard balancing all this on my. Anyway, my Ambington sampler is going to go in here. These are my FOs that are going to be FFO this summer. Merry Christmas. This was out of 2016 winter issue of Punch Needle and Primitive Crafts. Punch Needle and Primitive Stitcher, sorry. This was fun. I have a Remember Me that my granddaughter wanted to be stitched on pink. And this I'm going to put lavender in it for her little girl's underwear drawer. This is a Brenda Gervais with Thy Needle and Thread, 32 count Country Mocha Lugana. I want to say this one's across the bottom. I can't even remember. Bittersweet something maybe. This is a fall pattern. Oh, my sleigh bells. This is from Country Rustic Prims. This was a 36 count. Not sure, but I know it's 36 count. 2016 Primitive Stitcher and Punch Needle magazine. And I want to say it was called Cookie's House. This is stitched on 32 count Belfast linen. And I did not put the wreath around it. I have something else I want to do with it. You can still see my hoop marks. Sorry. Oof. A Stacy Nash, an old Stacy Nash I finished from one of her booklets. Not sure what I'm going to do with this. I might put my initial right up here. It's supposed to be in the shape of a heart, but I might put initials or something, a year, something up here before I finish this, because I wasn't quite happy with the way this ended, and I don't want to put it into a heart-shaped pillow. But I know it's a Stacy Nash. Pure in Heart by Scattered Seed Samplers. Probably just a little pillow tuck for that one. Ooh. Hands to Work, Hearts to God by Stacy Nash. Sorry, I'm not bringing these too close because I'm balancing a box on my lap and I don't want it to fall. Pink Hearted House. This was a freebie from Pinker and Pumpkin. And I started something else. You can see I started something else, but I didn't want to waste this big piece in the middle. So I just did the little house. I'll probably just turn it into a little Valentine pillow. Last but not least, Lisa, I hope you bring yours. That's all I'll say, so I can see it if yours is finished. Stacy Nash is from the new book, My Name is Lydia. Well, the book isn't new, but she released the Lydia Corker sampler this last needlework market. But I would like to put this into a needle roll. It's a sewing roll before my retreat in September. And speaking of the retreat in September, it is from Prim Stitcher Society. It is in Missoula, Montana, and it's much smaller. I believe the coordinator said there was 1 or 2 spots left open. It is September 14th, 15th, and 16th, that weekend. Check into it. I know she has a Facebook page. It's either Northwest Prim Stitchers or Prim Stitchers Society, and I will scroll that name across the bottom here. But I'd like to have this done so I could take this with me as a sewing implement for that retreat. The retreat is in, like I said, in Missoula, Montana. It's a much smaller retreat. It's not like a StitchCon or anything, but just the setting, and it's so close to my home. It's just over the mountains here in Idaho, and I'm needing something a little smaller and more closer to home for me this year. That is in September, and I believe she said there was 1 or 2 spots left. So, but I believe it closes around the 1st or 15th, maybe the end of July. So check into that. So that is my ironing board parade. Kind of different, kind of last minute. I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, that's okay too. I just feel like sometimes I'm the only one that has these kinds of unfinished project stacks that, okay, I'll put it on the ironing board. I'll put it on the ironing board. I'll put it on the ironing board. I do get things done because look at all the quilts that are behind me. I do get things done, but sometimes they just get stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked and stacked on the ironing board, so that, you know, you got to make time. But the summer is my time to get a lot done. Have a good July. I probably won't see you until August. I'm kind of taking a little sabbatical for the summer. September, I will be at my retreat my second weekend of the month because I always film during the school year. Let's just put it that way. During the school year, I film on the second Saturdays of the month. So I officially won't see you until October. I know that's a long time away, but I plan on getting a lot done and having a lot of WIPs and finishes for you completed. But I will pop on in August sometime and maybe do a WIP parade of things that I've gotten done, or just some of the WIPs that I have here in the mountains with me. So stay tuned, enjoy your summer, be kind to those around us, stock up on your favorite sewing supplies, stitch what you love, stitch more, start less, and you'll get some of your WIPs done, and I will see you in August.